What's good, everybody? Welcome to Ben's Blades, or if you've been here before, welcome back. Today I'm going to install a few upgrades on this knife right here. This is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Wow, failed that one right out of the gate. The Spyderco Paramilitary 2, or the PM2. Let me try that again. This is a tight knife, so it needs to be loosened up a little bit. This knife is USA made, of course, 3.5-inch blade or close to it. It is CPM S110V, and it is a factory second. I think I only paid like $120 for this. A factory second Spyderco is, you can tell by this notch that is located right here. Not sure if you can see that, but there's a little carve out, a cutout right there to denote that it is a factory second knife. So what does that mean? Well, you pay a lot less for it, but you also don't get the lifetime warranty and you don't get their life sharp guarantee. The reason it's a factory second is, of course, because there was just something about it that didn't pass Spyderco's quality control standards. I'm not sure what that could have possibly been because I have a few of these and I've never seen anything on any of them that would indicate that it would be not meeting their quality standards, so that's interesting. What are we going to do to this knife today? Well, I want to make the knife tip-up carry, and I'm going to install this Lynch Northwest pocket clip, deep carry pocket clip. I also have a Flytanium titanium backspacer that we're going to put on the knife, and we're also going to install a whole different titanium parts kit, including the lanyard barrel from Applied Weapons Tech. So that's going to be the project for today. Let's talk about knife behavior before we tear it apart. This is not drop shut in the slightest. It is way too tight to be drop shutty. Hopefully through time it can be broken in. We have no up and down or side to side blade play, and the blade is dead center. So good stuff all around with that. So let's talk about what we need. What do we need? What do we need? I think it's a T8. That looks a little loose. And so does that. Is that a T10? I'll be damned. The pivot is a T10. What about the body screws? Nope, the body screws are a T8. So we need a T10 and a T8 from the Weehaw bit set. I think... Oh boy. I might need multiple T8s and T10s to get this apart because I'm willing to bet that I'm going to have free spinning standoffs. We'll just have to see. All right, let's grab the Mac Tools mini ratchet and start with the pivot. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we can do with this. Okay, so that broke loose quite nicely. And move over to the CountyComm bit driver. And we do have some blue Loctite. So I was kind of assuming that this would have post-dated Spyderco switching to blue Loctite from the red Loctite. I gotta guess these are T6, and yes they are. So we'll take the screws off of the pocket clip, and that pocket clip will go bye-bye. This knife actually isn't mine. This is going to be gifted to a special friend of mine who does a lot of metaphysical stuff. So she does a lot of precise carving on like Palo Santo and dry herbs and things like that. So a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 is going to be fantastic for that. Holy crap, that one is tight. I haven't taken apart a PM2 before, so I'm just going to learn as I go. But yeah, she, I think, would appreciate a knife that's this thin with this kind of sliciness to it, because Spyderco's, for all the talk about how they're butt ugly looking, are some of the sliciest folding knives you can get. Few knives that I've ever seen are as thin and have an ease of slicing quite like the Spyderco knives. Okay, so now we need to go to a T8 for the rest of the screws. Wow, these are tight. I almost needed the Mac Tools mini ratchet for the body screws. Is that free spinning? Yes, it is. Let's come back to that one. Come on. That screw does not want to come out. There we go. I'm not sure if this knife... Well, it looks like we have a free spinning pivot there too. So that is unfortunate on so many levels. I might have to take the pliers to this one, the needle nose pliers. I really didn't want to do that, but it looks like I might have to. Getting the lanyard barrel out of this knife is going to be interesting too. I have a special tool for that, but even still, I know these lanyard barrels are pretty fucking stubborn and don't like to come out because they're crimped over the top of the G10, for those who don't know. And so that makes it really a pain in the ass to get it out of the G10, but I have a tool for that. We'll get to that. All right, let me see if I can grip this just crazy tight. Open the knife slightly, get the blade out of the way. And I think probably the best thing to do is use the Mac Tools mini ratchet for this. Just grip this as tight as I can. Remember, I had this problem with the Kershaw Bel Air. Alright, come on. Hold it down. I think we're still spinning. Try to get it just as tight as I can. There we go. Now, this side should be loose. The next thing we need to do, I'm going to leave this open actually. The next thing we need to do is we're going to use the sharp dressed knives GTFO. That's my name for it, not theirs. Sharp Dressed Knives has a tool just for getting the G10 off of these lanyard barrels. GTFO, of course, stands for Get the Fuck Out, which is exactly what we're going to do with this lanyard barrel, because I refuse to get angry at a fucking lanyard barrel today. So we're just going to make short work of it. You place it around the lanyard barrel, and then you screw it down, And it should provide enough pressure to pull this lanyard barrel clean out of the spacer and the scales if you do it right. And yes, it's out. So let's take the pressure off of the G10 and get that out of there. Very nice. See? Just like that. Anybody who doesn't have the Sharp Dressed Knives GTFO and you take apart Spyderco knives a lot, this lanyard barrel does not have to be a pain in the ass. Do not let it outsmart you. Alright, there we go. So of course we'll do a full thorough cleaning of this thing while we got it open, just because why not? What is this? I'm guessing... Oh, that's the pivot. Okay. Duh. Of course it's the pivot. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what makes this a factory second, because it looks fine to me. Let's try to get this out. Yep, free spinning. So, let's grab onto it with the pliers. Come on. Got about as much pressure on as I can stand. And it's just not wanting to break loose. Well, maybe it doesn't need to. I might just be content to leave that in for now. I don't... Well, if I want to replace the whole parts kit, it's going to have to come out. So let's try doing this differently. Let's do the Mac Tools mini ratchet. See if I can just get bared down on this thing enough to pull this screw out. Come on. Come on, baby. You can do it. Ugh. I need to get further down. Let me grip it with this hand. Maybe I can get a better grip on it. I'm like shaking because I'm gripping it so hard, trying to break this loose. And no, it just keeps spinning freely. Oh, come on. Man, this one's difficult. Yeah, it's just not gripping the lanyard barrel. Let me see if I can, or not the lanyard barrel, it's not gripping the stop pin. Let me see if I can add some gripping force to this. Wow, that is tight. That's even worse than the Kershaw. Oh, I'm gripping it about as tight as I can. Alright, I guess give one hand a rest and try it with the other one. Oh, come on. Grip it way down towards the bottom. There we go. Finally. Wow. Pain in the ass. I swear to God, if I didn't love doing this so much, it would drive me nuts. Whew. Okay. That is quite enough of that. All right. Now let's see if we can get this out. Oh, it's still being captured by the other side of the lanyard barrel, so we got to do this same thing to the other side. All right. Should be in there exactly the way it needs to be. There we go. And it just drops right out. Awesome stuff from Sharp Dressed Knives. Whew. All right. Okay, now let's take all the original screws and put them up here so they're out of the way. And looks like we got most everything we need. All right, let's clean this off. Gonna use the Slip 2000 725 as usual. That's actually wetter than it needs to be. Now this side, if I can pick things up. I'm not going to clean off the abrasive side of the G10 because it's just going to leave pieces of this cloth on it. So I'm just going to dab this. Maybe wipe it down with a rag later. Okay, let's start putting everything back together. Let me get the excess off of this. Applied Weapons Tech. Put these separately right here. It looks like we have everything but the pivot, which is interesting. I mean, I guess we don't need it. So let's just get right into it. So this is the right side of the knife. Gonna use the ALG Go Juice for lubrication, same as always. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff, and it kind of comes out more liberally than I would prefer. So this has to go down, and then I'm pretty sure the pivot has to go over top of it. I just want to make sure I'm not missing, like... No, it looks like they don't include a pivot. That's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Okay, so this washer Let me make sure I got it on the right side. I actually don't. The polished side is the side that should be facing towards the blade. I've made that mistake a couple times. But this is actually captured by the pivot, and so it has to go down first, and then the pivot has to go in. If I can get it to go in. Oh, it's because the liner is captive. It's flat on one side. So that's why it wouldn't go in so easily. Now I'm pretty sure the blade, a little bit more lube there. Anything that isn't needed is just going to sort of creep out for me to clean it up later anyway. Put the blade back on like that. That came out crap. I might have to tinker with this to get it right. And then this piece goes in like that. And let me screw that piece in, just so that we have less parts that are gonna fall out. There. That's captured enough. And I think I actually might do the same to the pivot. Lost that right into the chair. Thankfully, it didn't go that far. Okay. Of course, I'm fumbling because my hands are all shaky from gripping those damn pliers so hard. There we go. Now that's captured into place. See, I'm figuring it out. Haven't taken apart a lot of Spydercos, but I'm figuring it out. Let me just make sure I've got enough Go Juice on there. Can never have too much of that. Okay, now let me see. Actually, I am thinking that I probably should just leave that off. I know you guys are thinking on and off and on and off, make up your mind. Well, I am discovering that with a Spyderco as I go, it's probably better to have as much stuff already attached as you can before you put the blade back on. Put a little bit of Go Juice on that. And then polished side face down. And now this side has to go on the knife. Okay, I'm just going to set it face down. And that looks like it's fitting together like a glove. So let me take a pivot screw, which is a T10. Got that screwed down. Let me just see. It's favoring the left side a little bit, but we have not all the screws are in the knife yet. I just want to make sure it's going to function. So we can take the T8 for the rest of the screws. Oh, somebody was probably screaming at me like, you forgot to put in the Backspacer. Thank you for that. I knew I heard somebody screaming at me. You forgot to put the Backspacer in, you idiot! Well, I was so in the zone, focused on getting this thing back together, that I completely forgot about it. Now, of course, everything wants to fly out all over everywhere. Okay. Well, it could have been worse. So there's that. Now we need the Flytanium Backspacer. There you have it. It's going to go right down like so. Fits like a glove. Actually, it's kind of loose if I'm being real, but okay. I just want to look around for a second and make sure I'm not missing parts. No. All right. So let's take and put this screw back in. I didn't need to take that out. Frankly, I don't know why I did. I don't know. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm not like in the smartest frame of mind right now, but we're going to get this done anyway. I'm mostly just kind of tinkering anyway. That's why these videos tend to be more long form. But that's okay. Put some oil back down on that again. Put the phosphor bronze washer back on. And now put the liner back in. Put that back down. Close the liner so that it'll fit. Wonderful. Okay, now I need a T10 again for this pivot screw. All right, back in place. And it's dead center even without all the screws in, so you gotta love Spyderco for that one. Man, I can't put a knife together today. I can't speak today. Ben's Blades is not on top of things today. But at least we got momentum. We're making progress, you know? Getting the knife put back together. And everything is going according to plan. Knock on wood. Just going to tighten everything down. Then I'll go back and tighten down the pivot here in a second because I can tell that's loose. And this Applied Weapons Tech lanyard barrel isn't crimped like the stock one is, so you shouldn't have any issues getting, like once you get that lanyard barrel off, my advice as somebody who hasn't done this very often and has practically no idea what I'm doing is don't put the original lanyard barrel back on. Get one that's aftermarket because they're not going to be crimped. So in the future, you'll be able to get your lanyard barrel on and off easily and not have to deal with the Sharp Dress Knives GTFO. Okay, so right hand tip up carry, so it needs to go on that side like that. Let me get my T6. The reason my T6 bits, I have 2 of them. The reason that those sit out like that is because those are extras. I have a terrible bad habit of stripping out T6 screws, and so this is kind of me knowing that I have that problem and just having extra screws on standby. All right, this is awkward as hell. There we go. Once you get the first one in, the rest of them aren't so hard. Okay. Lynch Northwest pocket clip. Lynch Northwest, if you're going to go for pocket clips, you know, I'm not affiliated or sponsored or any of that kind of garbage, but Lynch Northwest has the best pocket clips, I think, that you can get at a reasonable price, especially for titanium. I have been putting Lynch Northwest pocket clips on everything lately, so it's almost like a binge for me. Okay. Hopefully I'm doing more of this stuff on camera and less of it like down here where you can't see it. All right, let's do a function check. Wow. It wasn't drop shut before, but it is now. I think it was just under lubricated. That is drop shutty as hell. I mean, look at that. That is the limp dickiest knife now. Awesome. I'm proud of myself for that. The pivot. The pivot isn't tight enough yet. So I might have spoke too soon. Nope, it's still kind of drop shutty. So, and we have a blade that's dead center. Awesome. Well, that went better than the last few videos. That's awesome. Let me wipe this down with the LPS2. I'm just going to use this rag. It'll be all right. Not sure if you can hear that. There might still be a screw that's slightly loose. I'll have to find that and tighten that down off camera. But we have the LPS2. This stuff is going to leave a kind of a micro film on the blade that will give some extra protection. I mean, it's S110V. It's one of the best steels you can possibly get in a knife. So it's not like it needs it, but I always put that on everything. So, actually the rattle is the lanyard barrel. So I'll have to do something to tighten that down. But in any case, there you have it. We have a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 that was taken apart, upgraded, and put back together without a lot of trouble. We got all new titanium parts all the way around, including the lanyard barrel. We have a titanium backspacer that looks absolutely perfect. I mean, at least I think it does. And, you know, we actually improved the action. We now have a drop-shutty knife, which it wasn't drop-shut when we started, but it sure as hell is now. And, of course, we have a tip-up carry with the Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip, which I think looks a lot better on the knife anyway. So there you have it, Spyderco PM2. Questions, comments, put them in the comments section of the video. Otherwise, until next time, this is Ben from Ben's Blades telling you, you better carry that knife everywhere you possibly can legally. You never know when you might need it. I'll see you next time.